Hello, everyone, and welcome to Middleground. I'm your host, Ray Garcia, and today I'm joined by Councilwoman Bailey of the City of Homestead. Thank you for joining me today. We're here to talk directly to candidates about their priorities and visions for the City of Homestead so that our viewers can understand what each candidate stands for. Make sure to follow Middleground on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at MiddlegroundHQ. For more interviews, updates, and civic education content regarding local, state, and national politics aimed at young people everywhere. So let's start with a few questions. First up, we have question 1, traffic. How will you reduce traffic congestion as Homestead continues to grow?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Obviously, traffic, hot topic, right? I believe that we have made some major improvements that are going to help with the alleviation of traffic. I know specifically for Homestead, one of the biggest issues right now is the signaling from this new BRT, the bus rapid transit. So that has to do with our continuing efforts to work closely with the county, making sure they're aware of all the issues that we're facing, because obviously all that bottlenecking, especially during pickup and drop off during school, I drive it every day. I am very familiar with it. We're working hard to get that resolved soon. Another big thing that we just finished was very exciting. It's a traffic study master plan. Mm-hmm. So looking at what roads would make sense to widen from 2 to 3 or 4 lanes. So the exciting part about that is now we've got this list of priorities and ways that we know are going to make a big difference sooner than later. So there are these mobility impact fees that the county kind of spreads out. Unfortunately for us, it is spread out between Florida City and Coral Gables. So it doesn't always give its fair share to Homestead. So we've recently passed a resolution. I believe that was this past month, September. We passed a resolution to urge the county to look at these important projects that we have in the pipeline and hopefully get some more of those mobility impact fees over our way. Another big thing that we know is going to make a big difference is that Turnpike extension on Campbell Drive. It is not only unsafe, but it just was not thought out well. So we are urging the county again with another resolution that was passed to really have a look at that and do their own traffic studies, because the amount of accidents that happen there is just astronomical. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for your answer. Next up, question 2, utilities. So do you believe that Homestead should keep running its own power or partner with FPL to lower costs, and why?
So utilities, honestly, it's not my forte. Mm-hmm. I'm really passionate with youth programs and more with the education side. But I know that there are pros and cons to everything, right? I think Homestead, as a really growing city, I think it's in our best interest to continue trying to have as many utilities coming from Homestead, not only for us to continue looking for the best prices for our residents, but to have a little more say over how things are done. So that goes for water, sewer, and electric. So I know that there are some partnerships now with FP&L. There have been rumors about talking to see how that partnership could look. And as long, it's constantly looking at what will help the residents. So if we do see that partnership is something that will help, then we'll definitely take that into consideration.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So for question 3, public safety. Homestead currently has one of the lowest police to resident ratios in the county, about 1.6 officers per 1,000 citizens, compared to the 2.2 in Dade County and the state average of 4.2. We're also facing a higher than average crime rate. So what is your plan to increase funding, grow the police force, and strengthen our community involvement and trust as the city continues to expand?
So I'll start with trust. I'm really big with community policing. Again, that education piece, the youth, I think that so many of our answers lie within the youth. So just making sure that education piece, that community engagement is there and it continues to grow. Since 2021, I believe we've had only 21 budgeted new officers included in the PD's budget, right? 10 of those 21 happened in this last year. So we really are making strides to better that. I know that from those 10, there are still a few that have not been filled, but PD is actively looking for some great new officers to be able to hire. ShotSpotter, that was one thing that I was excited that we were able to start a few years back. A lot of times you have residents who think somebody else called. People think it's fireworks. So ShotSpotter has really helped us be able to pinpoint where some of these issues are, and the community also is more aware of a quicker response should they decide to do something that they shouldn't be doing.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have downtown development. So what are your plans to revitalize downtown Homestead and strengthen the city's cultural identity and its local economy?
So I live very close to the downtown. I've been there for almost 20 years. I used to live right up the street here on Sunset Drive, and talking about traffic, that was horrendous. And my parents moved to the Redlands, and they said, "Why don't you come check out Homestead?" And I said, "Who lives in Homestead?" You know. And we started driving through. We made a wrong turn off downtown into this cute little neighborhood. And there we've been for, like I said, almost 20 years.
It became home.
Yes. So, I fell in love with the charm. I grew up in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. So I feel like Homestead's a little melting pot of all these different areas. And for that, I've always envisioned just this outside cafes and being able to have just a much more walkable downtown. Some of the specific programs that we have right now that I think are making a big difference are through the CRA, that's the Community Redevelopment Agency. Any needy areas can apply for the CRA, which we've been granted now, I want to say 15, 20 years we've had it. And that just helps allocate federal dollars to the bottom line is to eliminate slight and drawing a blank. But yes, to fix up areas that are really in need.
Okay.
So through the CRA, those grants include facade improvements for businesses, relocation grants. So I think that they are getting so much smarter with helping the businesses that come in succeed. So that's one piece that I'm very excited about.
That sounds good. Continuing on to overdevelopment. I know it's a question we hear a lot. Many residents are worried about overdevelopment and losing Homestead's character. How will you manage growth and prevent overcrowding and strain on city resources, such as the overburdening of the power grid?
Again, another very tough one. A lot of people don't understand that when someone buys a piece of land, they have building rights. So they think that the council is just approving these developments left and right, and that is not the case. So for me, growing smartly, which I know sounds a little cliche, but just really taking the infrastructure into consideration, making sure that everything is there to be able to handle it. Again, with the downtown being developed, unfortunately, density comes across as a bad word, but it's also needed for businesses to strive. So, just having that smart development. I think we do need some more density in the downtown area. It's where that BRT ends. I think that's the smart way to grow, is to have some more density by these major busways. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. For question 6, we have infrastructure growth. So as Homestead is growing, what do you see as the biggest infrastructure needs in healthcare, education, and emergency planning?
So, as far as the infrastructure, one of the biggest things these last 2 years that we've worked really hard on with grants and through the budget with capital improvements was to finally get Pump Station 11 completed. That was one piece that was really needed to help the downtown, especially the southwest area, to be able to for some of those businesses to grow. As far as education, I know that it goes a little back and forth every year there's more of a need in high school or more of a need with middle school. The one thing that I'm really proud of is how well our public schools have been doing lately. We've seen some major improvements in our public school. Aftercare programs, I think that's such an important thing. We talk about public safety. A lot of times it's the parks, it's those engaging afternoon activities that are going to keep kids off the streets and doing things that are constructive. So, yeah, just being proactive, making sure that each year our budget has what we need to be able to grow and build what we need for that growth.
I'm glad to hear that. So question 7 is transparency. So how will you ensure that city decisions are transparent and include residents in the voices of all decision making, such as major infrastructure plans?
So, attending things like what you're hosting today obviously is big. We have such a low voter turnout. You saw my earrings.
Everyone vote. Everyone vote.
Vote. If we don't get, especially our youth, engaged, a lot of people think that the U.S. presidency is a big one. Nothing affects us more than local politics. It's
your backyard.
It is. It is. It is what is determining how many police officers are on the street, how many parks we have to be able to go to. So yeah, getting out that vote, the education piece, really focusing on the youth. I forgot what the question was, but yeah, the answer is the youth.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Because,
the transparency,
yes.
And then on the city side, I think that we've also been doing a much better job over the last couple of years with our social media. A lot of things change quickly. We used to do these more sit-down interviews, which weren't getting as much views. But yeah, just making sure that we're posting when important decisions are being made, that everyone knows that they are welcome to attend any of the council meetings. And there is always a time for public comment at the beginning, and we do want to hear from you.
I'm glad you said that. Moving on to our final general question is budget priorities. So there's limited resources, as every city has. How will you decide which issues like safety, road, utilities, education gets funded first, and why?
So education we don't do much with on a city level. But yeah, as far as public safety is concerned, as far as those infrastructure needs, it's just really looking at what takes priority. I'm really excited about this year's budget. Every year I get excited. You just hear about new parks coming. We've got this huge sports complex that we are all very excited about. Just making sure that we are listening to the residents. We host different conversations with the community, town hall type things, and we do want to hear what specific needs are for specific areas, because it's not the same in the East and the West.
Yeah. So now we'll be moving into the candidate-specific questions.
Okay.
So your first question is, Councilwoman Bailey, you've done efforts such as the Artists in the Spotlight program, which has strengthened Homestead city culture. So how do you plan to expand these opportunities for youth and local artists, and just expand culture in general in your upcoming term?
So again, going back to just appreciating what a melting pot we are. There's so many different cultures. There's so many different foods, types of arts, music. And that was one thing that I felt would bring us all together, again, going into that mentoring piece and that education and the youth, to be able to have this outlet. This is going back to during the pandemic when we were having to do things virtually. We hosted our art walk virtually that year. We set up all these kits outside, and parents could come get one for their child. And inside that, they would have everything that they needed, and we would, join on Zoom and just try to still have that outlet. I think that's so important for all of us, adults equally, to just have an artistic outlet to be able to express things that we might not otherwise be able to. As far as expanding it, we do have a new piece in the budget for this year, starting this December 5th and 6th. We'll be hosting our Art Basel in the South. So Art Walk has always been one of my favorites. It's just such a great opportunity to get local schools and organizations out to showcase their talents. And now for the December 5th and 6th, it's an additional opportunity to be able to celebrate art and show some of the amazing talent that we have.
And I look forward to seeing how that goes. And to all of the residents of the city of Homestead, it'd be a great opportunity to pull up and watch.
Definitely.
So for your second question, you've worked on improving infrastructure and public safety. What lessons have you learned that guide your approaches moving forward in this next term?
So I think moving forward is hosting as many of these conversations with the community as possible. Community crime watches were something that used to be very popular that has died down. So many people don't know their neighbors anymore. We do have a big turnaround, a big rental community. So looking for opportunities to just really get those neighborhoods feeling like neighborhoods again, hosting little block parties to get residents out, get to know each other. I think that's key.
Reestablishing culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So actually our next portion, I believe, is going to be your public comment to the constituents of the city of Homestead. So you can now just take a moment and talk directly to them and tell them what you feel is going to be the highlights of your second term.
Okay, thank you. So I ran unopposed, so I was very thankful for that. I am honored to serve another 4 years. 8 years ago, somebody asked me, "Have you ever considered running for council?" And I said, "That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." And a few days later, just thinking about the education piece, I thought, you know what, maybe I can make a difference. And I am proud of some it's small things sometimes that make a big difference. So my passion remains the same. I want to elevate and help some of these mentoring programs that are there and willing to come out into the community and wrap their arms around a group of kids to be able to have those first steps be a little easier. And just listen to the residents. It's City Hall, 2 monthly meetings that you are always welcome to. We do want to hear. We do want to hear from you. I am running for vice mayor as well. That is something I would be, again, extremely humble to be able to serve as your vice mayor. But my council duties and responsibilities, especially for the Southwest area, that is very needy. I just look forward to continuing the relationships that we have. We have an amazing committee called the Southwest Advisory Committee, the Community Relations Board, and through those committees, just to continue growing these programs that we hope will make a big difference. So.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now closing out this wonderful interview, thank you for joining me today, Councilwoman Bailey, and thank you to Miami Community News for helping host this. We appreciate all the time and effort that you are doing on the council here at Homestead to help us and make our lives better. For our viewers out there, remember to stay informed and exercise your right to vote. It is one of the most important rights you have, so please ensure that you keep it strong. Your voice matters, and it's what shapes our city. So don't forget to follow Middleground on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Middleground HQ for more interviews, updates, and civic education content regarding local, state, and national politics aimed at young people everywhere. Thank you so much, and we hope you all have a good day, night, or evening.